Don't wait till the battle's over. Don't wait till the struggle ends. Shout now, shout now, right now. Shout now, shout now. Don't wait till you make it.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Phillip Show. I am Phillip, and I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for joining us today. We have an amazing, and I say this every single time that we come on, but I am so encouraged and inspired by the guests that we have here, and I hope that you are too. Okay, so let's just take a minute, get your coffee, because I had mine. The last time I think I was drinking a French roast. I want to say this one's English dark roast. All right, so today we're going to be talking about how life circumstances shape who you become and finding you. If this is your first time joining us, we talk a lot about how we can encourage and inspire people to be the best selves that they can be, to be you. And a lot of times we look at different strategies, we identify, and we try and figure out how our journey has gone so far. What are our goals? Who are we? And have we figured that out yet? And I know it's always going to be a journey, but a lot of times we just get distracted by society. Our past can come into play, which completely throws off our trajectory of becoming self-actualized and understanding and beginning to love who we are. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And it's going to get deep. It's going to get funny. And I love that about it. So I was thinking the other day, and I had to think, to myself, and through this episode, I'm going to continue to think about it. What things in my life, and think about it while we're going through this episode, what things in my life, what things in your life can you contribute to saying, you know what, I'm the person that I am based on this series of circumstances, or there's a certain series of circumstances that happened that kind of changed the trajectory. I like that word today, trajectory of who I was becoming, and I did a shift. And I forged my own path based on those situations, and now I have a new outcome. I mean, it's just so deep. And today, I'm super excited. You guys are going to get to meet a special person. You're going to get to meet my Dr. Big Bro. His name is Chaplain Jason O'Rourke, and he has a Master's of Divinity. And I'm super excited for you to meet him. So you guys just help me welcome my big brother, Dr. Jason O'Rourke. Jason! How are you doing? And while you unmute yourself, I just want you guys to know that, oh my goodness, I'm just so proud of my brother. We're only a year and a half apart, but he is doing some big things. Jason, tell us a little bit. Say hello to the people for us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phillip's big brother. That's my name. I don't have a name. My name is Phillip's big brother.
And that's just what it is.
I'm a trained hospital chaplain. I'm the director of mission integration at Littleton Adventist Hospital. I'm a former church pastor. I'm a former military man, and I am a survivor and thriver from childhood sexual abuse. So, and I'm married. I have 2 awesome daughters and 1 awesome wife.
He has 2 awesome daughters and an awesome wife. That is, and I remember, Jason, I remember at your wedding, and we're going to get into a lot of the things, childhood coming up and how it shapes us. But I remember at your wedding, one of the things that was so overwhelming is I couldn't believe this day was happening. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't believe it. Memories start to flood back, challenges of childhood and everything start to flood back. And to know that regardless of what happened in the past, you were able to come out on the other side, not unscathed, because we're going to talk about, how it shifts your mind, but you turned around and positivity came out of it, and it was an unbelievable moment for me, because I was like, I can't believe this is happening after all that, after all this, how
right
in the entire world. And it was just a joyful moment. It was overwhelming because, all I saw was me and you as little kids.
Right.
I'm like seeing my big brother, though we were little, and I'm like, he's getting married.
Right.
Well,
right.
Wait a minute.
Right.
So, and as we keep talking, people will understand my astonishment and the wonder of it all. You
Mhm.
know, so growing up, just really quickly, we were talking about the things that shaped us. What would you say, um, based on childhood, how did that start to shape the person that you are now?
Right. So I grew up um, in a very, I have to say very because it was, in a very loving and conservative Christian home. Um, and we were taught, I mean, we had to make our bed before we went to breakfast and all these other things. We were taught all the Bible story tapes, all the Bible stories. We knew them all. So that was one form of influence, right? I was taught that. My parents wanted me to have a solid, foundation in the Bible. And the other thing that shaped me was being molested at age 6. And so those two things were very, and let me say this. I want to say this, Philip, if I may, and you can come back on the screen at any time because that makes it easier for me to talk. Um,
See, he's directing me, and it's my show. But we're gonna move forward. That's what we're gonna do.
no, but because there's a core person,
Yeah.
right? And so we have to be very clear about that everybody has a core person, and your parents are at some level. Every child needs to be shaped,
Mm,
and shaping comes from family and from environment. There's a core, whatever that core is. I've always been an energetic, athletic kid.
yeah.
I've always been rambunctious,
Mm,
but that had to be shaped. My parents wanted to shape me according to um, their understanding of Christian principles and the Bible. Well, the other thing that shapes me is being molested. And so you have these two polar opposite experiences and events. One's
yeah.
an event and one's a way of being developed that are influencing each other and or clashing with each other, and they are informing the core person that I am.
Mm,
Um, and so, it that we have to understand that up front. And so going forward, when after our parents divorced, and then there was some trauma in our family after that, that assisted, and this is a social aspect. The society is continuing to inform and shape how I express, right? So,
mm,
and we've talked about this before, so I want to say this up front. There is a core person. Your core is influenced by three things. You're influenced by what you inherit from your parents, from your generational inheritance. These are facts. You
okay.
can see it. They see it happening with addicts. You can see it happen in skin color and hair color, and it's just an inheritance. You didn't do anything to deserve it. It's part of somebody's genes.
Okay.
Then society informs you on what parts of that expression it will support or not support.
Mm,
And so those things, and so society will look at you and say, okay, this is what we see that you have inherited and how we see you behaving, and therefore we're going to label you and put you in this direction. Society wants to encourage you in the direction that it sees best for itself.
got you. Yeah.
The third part is your choice, right? How I choose. Do I choose to accept? And this is very important for people. Do I choose to accept to live based on what was handed down to me? Now, sometimes you can't change, you can't handle your hair or those other things. But some of us have some significant anger management issues, some depression issues, and other issues that it just came with us,
Yeah.
right? And it's just part of your emotional makeup. Do you choose to live based on that hand me down, or do you choose another way? Do
Yeah.
you choose another way? Do you choose to live based on how society dictates, based on what it's best for itself, not what's best for you? Or do you choose to forge your own path? And so, what I did very early on is I developed an addiction
Okay.
to medicate the trauma and the anger that I had experienced. The trauma, the anger, the shame, the fear, the guilt, all of that, which was
Mm,
not my fault, but I developed addiction tendencies, right?
okay.
I activated, no, I don't want to say that. I activated the addictive tendency that was handed down to us
Mm,
from our ancestors.
got you.
It was there, but I acted on it. in order to somehow medicate the shame and the guilt and anybody, if any of you are addicts, you know that don't help.
Yeah.
You know, all it does is cover, then you feel worse about yourself in the morning. That's what really the truth. You feel horrible. Because I did. Let me not say what you did. I felt horrible. Right? So I went into the service, and the service is another informer. I had some out of control issues, and the service, at least during work time, brought order.
So let me ask you, let me pause right there. Let me ask you,
Yeah,
based
go
on what you were saying about activating some negative tendencies to help deal with the trauma of the past, do you think that your decision to go into the military was highly based on you having more of an aggression based on your past? Or were you always interested in serving? Did it have anything to do with the
Okay, that's a good question. So 100%, I didn't want to go into the military.
Okay.
That wasn't something I wanted to do. My mom told me to go into the military because I told her I was smoking weed.
Okay. So that
And
was like a
she knew,
protective and a correct. She was like correcting the course.
precisely because she knew I had addictive tendencies.
Gotcha.
And we had addiction in the family. And she said, absolutely not. Will you go down that path? Get some discipline in your life. Go
Gotcha.
over there.
Yeah.
Right. And so she added a course correction because I was undisciplined and I had out of control addictive tendencies and practices. So go into the military, get some discipline.
And going into the military to that particular date, you still hadn't. The only way that you were able to deal with that, you didn't have any formal way. It's not like you went to therapy for the things that you were experiencing.
Not at all.
Prior to. So you're going into the military really not formally addressing the issues yet.
There you go. Right. Because mom is addressing, the military is designed to get me disciplined and to give me a sense of purpose.
Gotcha.
But it's not designed to solve the addictive tendency or the brokenness from my childhood. The military can't do that. Yeah. And I didn't know to do that.
Yeah. And
so in the military, I had no desire. I was just there. And I mean, I came up for promotion and they said, do you deserve to be promoted? No. I don't care if I get promoted. They were like, wait, what? I said, I do my job so people don't die and I can go home and sit down and relax. If that means I'm promotable, then promote me.
Gotcha.
They thought that was like the best answer ever. I was like, well, okay. I had no desire.
You do have a knack for the blunt, so, and that's refreshing to many, but yeah.
But I mean, I had no aim. I wasn't a bad soldier. I was a good soldier, but I had no drive to progress. I had no drive.
Yeah.
And so I left the service, and when I left the service in 2001, I left active duty and I moved in with Dad. And it was with Dad where I was reacquainted with the faith of our childhood.
Sure.
Not in the fundamentalist sense, but in the childlikeness of it. Yeah. We would stay up and talk about spiritual things, and I would disagree, and he'd let me disagree, and I got a chance to grow up with my dad for 6 years that I missed from ages 12 to 18.
Yeah.
So I got that from ages like 24 to 30, 25 to 31. So I got to relive that part, right? So from there, I went to undergrad at Oakwood University. And then I became a chaplain after that. And they sent me to get my master's. Mm-hmm. And that, our parents gave us names, mm-hmm. clearly, but they tried to be very intentional about that. And I didn't understand it until I became a chaplain. Like my name, if I'm not mistaken, my name Jason means healer or something like that. And I didn't make the connection until I became a chaplain. Like, oh, this is who I actually am.
So you started to discover your identity.
Precisely. I was like, wait, this, and I look back over my life and how I interact with my friends. I was always the guy with the corrective. I was always the guy with the wisdom. I was the guy that people came to for advice and to solve issues.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is kind of like healing. I was like, oh, so that's who I am at a core. I want to be that quote unquote, big brotherly something for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that chaplaincy for me helped me find that. And even this year, at the beginning of this year, I wrote down my mission, vision, and values for myself. And I was like, okay, if I'm not living my life according to this, then I'm wasting my time.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I needed to know, what is my mission? What is my purpose to be here?
Yeah.
And I had to take stock of my whole life.
Yeah.
I remember that one time when we were playing football, we played football together, and I forget the light-skinned dude that hit you. And I was so angry because I thought he was being a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
I pounded him for the rest of the football game.
Mm.
I couldn't fix whatever he did, but I pounded him for the rest of the football game. He limped home.
Mm.
The coach had to tell me to stop because I was pounding him for the rest of practice. And I thought about that, like, yeah, but that's who I've been.
Yeah.
By and large, my whole life, And so, for me, finding who I am meant sifting through all of the negative stuff and finding the thread of Jason that was consistent.
Okay.
And for me, the consistency of the thread, do I have it on this page here? I mean, is it? Oh, wait, here it is. I have it. The consistency of values for me was faith, fitness, family. I like teamwork, and I like freedom.
Hmm.
And if I look over my life, those are the consistent themes.
Okay.
That's me. That's who I am. And so everywhere I go, those 5 values show up.
Mm.
It doesn't matter whether I was in the military, whether I'm in the hospital, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Those are the 5 values that show up everywhere. That is who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you start to realize that, is it easy? That kind of gives you a roadmap, if you will. It kind of gives you a roadmap to and a strategy towards the goal of living out your purpose and living out your you.
Yes.
Because if you have a roadmap, and your roadmap is to be consistent and to be on the journey of remaining on the lane that says, this is my lane because this is my person. This is the person that I am. So understanding those bullet points, it almost gives you the framework to understand when something is not in line with that strategy, when something is not in line with those bullet points. You can identify it very clearly because you've already identified the who of the matter, right?
Exactly. And that is the core. So a lot of people, the way that the human soul is structured, okay, you will have your identity at the core.
Okay.
Then you have your beliefs, and then you have your values.
Okay.
From which you gain your morals, and then you get your ethics. Now, society tries to inform you from the outside in.
Okay.
So it will address you through ethics to influence your morals in an attempt to alter your values, to challenge your beliefs so it can shape your identity. You have to be clear on who you are from the beginning. And if you're not clear, you got to find that golden thread that runs through all 5 levels that I just said, right? Identity, beliefs, values, morals, and ethics. What's the thread of you that runs through it all, right?
Yeah.
And then look through your life and find that exact same thread. That is who you are.
Yeah.
Everything else is outside interference.
Yeah.
Everything else is outside interference. So, and here's the great thing about it, Philip. Once you understand who you are, right, you may not have a roadmap, because roadmap says, okay, you need to go here, you need to go here. But what you do have is, I don't want to say guideposts, but you have a set of boundaries for every environment you find yourself in.
Yeah.
For every environment. If I'm here, this is who I am. And if I'm here, this is who I am. Not because of outside influence, but because of a realization of your own internal identity and value.
Yeah.
you know, and to accept, everyone has to accept part of who I am is a broken man.
Okay. Yeah, that is very difficult because a lot of people want to they want to say I'm done with the journey and I'm healed from that, and they don't want that to continue on. So it's no longer a realization. They no longer internalize it and say I am this. That's why I have to be very specific in some of the things that I'm doing and some of the things that I'm recognizing, because it's very, and you can let me know what your thought is about this, because it's very easy to turn back into somebody that you spent so much time trying to distance yourself from.
Precisely. And part of the reason why it's so easy to turn back into that person for me has been when that has been the only focus that I'm trying to get away from.
Ah, come on now. Yeah.
So if your goal in life is to not be your ancestors, if your goal in life is to not be what you used to be, you'll inevitably end up back there because that is what you have set your eyes on.
And that's what you're concentrating on.
Thank you. Whereas if you know your values and your identity, you can say, because this is what we're afraid of. The issue with past pain and past struggles is not that we like the pain, it's that it's familiar and we know how to survive in it.
Okay. Yeah. You're comfortable there. You're familiar. It makes
Even
sense.
if you don't like it, you get it. You know how to maneuver in that space.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's up?
That reminds me of relationships that you shouldn't be in. It's almost like a relationship. What's the word? I'm thinking of the word blank relationship. Like not a bad one, but a
Codependent?
Codependent.
Dysfunctional?
Dysfunctional. I couldn't think of the word. It's like a dysfunctional relationship, and people go from dysfunction to dysfunction to dysfunction, and they say they want a positive relationship, but they don't know what that looks like. So they get something that's comfortable because they're used to confusion, all of that. So it's like, I think in our identity journey, sometimes that is, even though I didn't like it, even though I didn't like the person that I was, I'm comfortable there because I know that sphere.
Yes. And the problem is and so that's one thing. The next issue is we don't have a system by which we learn to turn our proverbial gaze toward what we want. And you can't do that. You can't even turn until you are clear about who you are, right? So what I have, wait, let me just say this one thing, so what I have here, I made, and I use it. I made a Excel spreadsheet with my daily schedule, right?
Yeah.
And on the schedule, and when I go to work, I check my lunch, but I also check what I call HALT BS, and it stands for when I'm hungry or horny, angry or having anxiety, lonely, tired, bored, or sad.
Okay.
Right? And I check to see how am I doing in these 3 hours? What has happened? What am I feeling? Why? Because I want to make sure that I am responding and living my life toward where I want to go, and I'm not defaulting based on those criterion back to who I was. So I have to do an assessment. I have to check. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Life, who you want to be, is based on a system. You have to get a system. You have to have positive things you tell yourself every day, because the life you used to live will always have a certain narrative that it plays in your mind, and you only remember the good stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you, and then you're like, and then you get drawn back and you're curious, like, oh, I remember so and so, I remember that, I remember, and then it's like, oh wait, I forgot about this though. And it's a cycle. And we have to constantly be telling ourselves, this on this side, this is good for these reasons, I am this, and that is not where I'm going. It becomes you have to speak that to yourself and structure your life toward the goal and the person that you want to be.
So let me ask you this. For somebody who's listening, everything sounds wonderful, and it sounds like that's what they need to do. How do you, or what do you do to encourage somebody? Because it seems like a long process, and there are things in there that you have to be intentional about, and things in there that you literally have to do. It's like work on yourself. It's work. So how do you encourage somebody, even though they know it's worth it, that they're just like, I don't want to do the work. How do you encourage people to say, if you want this, then you have to do this? Like, how do you do that?
Right. Well, so you said a lot there, and I wanted to comment on something, but I'm just going to address the question. If it comes back, it will. There is I tell them, well, one, how do you encourage? I'm not going to change them.
Mm-hmm.
So like in abusive relationships, it normally takes the abuse 7 times of going back and coming back before they actually leave, and that's if they're not dead.
Mm-hmm.
A person that does not want to change will not change.
Okay.
It's facts. What I will let everybody know is that you're not the only one on this journey. Firstly, you're not on. There are millions of people that are journeying like you to growth and self-fulfillment and identity and purpose. There are millions of people like you, right? Secondly, that's okay. So that's one. It came back and then it left me again. So that's one. And then two, I would tell them to get a system, develop their system, get structured. It's a lifestyle. Listen, here's one thing, and I remember what it is. We have a wishful mentality. The American dream has made it seem as if out of the blue, through the least amount of effort, you can get the maximum amount of results, and you don't even have to be intentional to do it. You can be laying on the bed, and here comes $1 million, and the finest person that you've always wanted to date and be with, and someone's going to drive up and drop you a car off and a check at your house. That is not life.
Mm-hmm.
Life is lived, and life is movement, and life is intentionality. Life is work. Life is goals. That is living. Life is love. Life and love go together. Like, you can't stay in your room and claim and be in isolation and claim you love people.
Yeah.
You can't claim you love yourself if you sit on your behind all day, because if you sit there too long, you're going to get bed sores and you're going to get obese. You don't love yourself.
Yeah.
You can't say you love yourself. Life is meant to be lived. Life is meant to be in relationship. Life is meant to be moving.
Yeah.
And the American dream, the American dream teaches you get the most for the least. And that's not true. That will never happen for yourself.
Yeah.
It will never happen. So you have to be intentional. What do I want? And small steps lead to great change.
That's good.
Small steps. You don't have to do everything at once. You know, if you're used to sitting on your behind, okay, cool. Don't sit on your behind for 8 hours. Try 6.
Yeah. You don't have to do it all, but you have to do something.
Do something.
Like, you have to start,
Start somewhere.
Yeah.
Pick somewhere. I choose physicality because that is the immediate place where I get the most bang for my buck right now.
Got you. Yeah.
And once I get those positive endorphins going, then I'm thinking better about myself. And I'm like, let me try this. Let me read this book, see what's going on. Oh, wait, I can't work out and continue to eat unhealthy. That's dumb. So let me eat healthy now.
Even though I try.
Right. Of course. I know. You are the pizza addict. It's fine. Pizza roll.
I don't eat it anymore. I haven't eaten pizza for so long. And I mean, listen, I'm not happy about it.
I would just like you to know that your nieces have the same addiction.
Oh, but I might have to drink coffee on that one. No, seriously, listen, you have given us so many things to think about, and we could just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. But that means that that I have to invite you back so we can just keep talking some more, because I mean, it's just such good stuff, and getting down to the root, making a plan, doing something, starting somewhere. It doesn't matter where you start, just begin. That's very powerful. So what's next for you?
Well, okay. So one, I'm really just kind of I just got here 6 months ago. I'm trying to be really good at my job.
Okay.
Amen. 2, I want to engage in more writing. And so I've connected with a colleague, and we're going to start doing some online content this year. And I'm going to talk to him about writing, and he knows he has somebody that does publishing. And so we're going to work that way. But honestly, I'm really just trying to be a better husband and father. And that's it, trying to be a better husband and father. I have pursued accomplishments for so long, and accomplishments, if they don't benefit others, are really just kind of arrogance.
Yeah.
And I've got my wife and daughters that I need to benefit. So I'm trying to be of a better benefit.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Jason, thank you so much for being here. I look forward to hearing all about and you letting us know when that content comes out, because if it's anything like this interview, it is worth the read, the go, the start, the finish, and I appreciate it. So, Jason, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I love you, Chief.
Love you back. All right, you all, that was Dr. Big Bro, Chaplain Jason O'Rourke with the Masters of Divinity, and wow, what an awesome thing. If you want more information, go to philliporourke.com and just look and see what's coming up. And I'm so glad that you joined us. So start your strategy, get your goals together. It doesn't matter where you start, just start. And remember, we're all on the same journey for identity, for acceptance, for all of these things. But just remember that you are the best you in the world. So let's just make it great, all right? So next time, I will see you next time.
Don't